If the athletes were centre stage, so were Australia's Aborigines. They took their battle for land rights to the streets, and for the first time were seen on the front pages and the television screens of the world as the foreign media poured into Queensland. The Australian media, and nationwide in particular, took a hammering from a games-obsessed population for daring to bring politics into sport.
Joe must go! 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 Joe must go!
I'm from Television New Zealand. We're giving, obviously, the Aboriginal protest side of things quite extensive coverage. I think largely it's a kind of a bit of a mirror that people are seeing of the Springbok Tour protests that we had in New Zealand last year.
What do we want? Land rights! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Land rights! When do we want it? Now!
What sort of coverage is this getting in Fiji?
We've hit headlines, back home, sort of front page leads on this.
Land rights! Land rights! Land rights!
Well, in Canada, of course, we have similar problems with our natives, which have been getting sorted out over the last few years, but up to about 4 or 5 weeks ago, we were not hearing very much about the Aboriginal issue in Canada. The odd story as the games got a little closer, but the last few weeks there's been more and more in the press and in the newspapers and radio and television.
The protests were well organised and they were moving.
Well, let me tell you, Joe Bajoki Peterson and all your mates, before any white man ever set foot on this country, something like 800 million Aboriginal people had lived and died here.
On TV I saw a story of the Brisbane Blacks.
But if 1982 was to be the year that changed things for Australia's blacks, it was a failure. Governments have not been moved, and the Queensland government is now no more likely to grant land rights to its blacks. And its attitudes aren't changing.
The people on the reserves up there, if you want to use the argument, they think our department's very good. We supply all sorts of foodstuffs to them and that sort of thing. I don't think that they're really advanced to a stage when you could give them freehold land and this sort of thing, because they wouldn't know what it was. You see, these people basically have never been used to having money much. They normally live out in areas where they don't use it much, and they sort of catch birds and goannas and all this sort of thing.